Aloha, everyone. Thanks for joining us again today. This is another session on Padlet. And Padlet is a tool that we can use online. It's great for collaborating with people, sharing ideas. And I've been showing folks different kinds of Padlets in other videos: the wall, the canvas, the stream, and the grid. Today, I'd like to show you what the shelf looks like. But before we do that, um, let me show you what we did in a classroom recently on Padlet. This is an ecosystems Padlet that we used using the shelf tool, and a class wanted to look at what kind of ecosystems we had in Hawaii. And what we did was we took a look at some definitions, and I asked the class to choose for me which kinds they wanted to look at. So they chose forests, grasslands, tundra, and deserts, which was pretty funny because first they kept spelling it as deserts and they couldn't find things online. But that was a learning experience, right? So what we did in the class was we took a look at definitions. We took a look at different kinds of forests the students were finding, different kinds of grasslands, tundras. Does that even exist in Hawaii? That was an interesting time for us in our discussion. And deserts, like what kinds of deserts are there in Hawaii? Are they true deserts, not true deserts? That was a discussion point. But you can see here, as the students were creating their different Padlets, if I go and I click under here, you'll see that new ideas will appear. So I'll click there and there's a new idea here. So students had to decide where to put it. And if they put it in the wrong place, what they could do was they could go in and they could actually move it over to another column if they needed to. So that's what we did as a class. We went through and we talked about it. So let's go back and create a Padlet with each other. So I'm going to go back to the beginning here. I'm going to go ahead and make a Padlet. And here I'm going to choose shelf. A shelf is a way to stack your content in a series of columns, which you saw just now. So I'm going to choose that. And again, as always, it makes a background for me. So I will go ahead and call this the Peacock Padlet since it is showing us this background. So I'm going to leave this. Of course, you can change your description to anything you want. As always, I like to change the name of this Padlet so that I can give that to students in easy to remember form. You can change your wallpaper, color schemes, and fonts. I always like to turn on attribution. That's completely up to you, so I can see which one of my students or which of one of my colleagues is sharing anything. This is really up to you how you want to do this. So where do the new posts appear? Do they appear first in the list or last in the list as you're creating them? I would like to add comments, and this one I'm going to leave the reactions off, although you can always choose any of one of these to turn on if you'd like. Like other Padlets, if it's public especially, you want to consider if you want to filter some content so that you have to approve it before it gets posted to the public. I'm going to leave this off. Filter profanity if the topic needs it, or if your people that you're using it with are very young, then you do want to turn this on or consider turning it on. So I'm going to go ahead and go next here, and I'm going to start posting. So it's going to ask you here, name your first column. And I'm just going to put Peacocks of the World. I'm really making this up as I go here. So Peacocks of the World. What do I want as my second column? Maybe maybe I just want to look at feathers. So let's talk about feathers. Uh, Another one here. I'm really interested in the colors on the peacocks themselves, and maybe names in different countries could be another column type. And again, these particular headings is something that you can develop with your students or with your project teams as you're working on your different ideas. So completely open to you, but it is in column format, as you can see. Now, as I add things, they're going to appear under each one. Now, earlier I had said that I'm going to go ahead and put in here something about a color. And I'm just going to go ahead and add an image for now. Oh, I should say peacock color. I'm just going to choose any one of these images. Now, earlier I had showed you in the settings the ability to add from the bottom or the top, or from the first to the last. And I had chose first. So as I click here, you'll notice that the next idea appears at the top. But I'd like to show you what happens if I go in and I change it to last. So this is where it was last. And you'll notice, if you see, the plus went to the bottom. So now if I go in here and I click plus here, it appears down here instead of at the top. So that really is how you can choose to do that. I find that students don't really mind either way, as long as they can immediately see what it is that they're contributing at that time. So that's the major difference. But the nice thing about all of these is that you can always copy an idea. So what we were working on in one of our other projects is, when we were talking about colors and we were talking about either feathers or skin or different kinds of scales that animals have, they noticed that colors goes with another category also. So what some students started doing was they started copying their post, and they said copy to this Padlet, because this is the one that we're in. And notice that the system already provides to you your different columns that you've created in your shelf. So here I'm going to put it in feathers, and you'll notice it's the same thing, but the student or the collaborator can go in and start editing this, right? So they can change different ideas around, or they can add based on the particular column. So feathers for peacocks are different for males and females, right? And if they wanted to, they can change other features too. Um, what I really like to do in this shelf, just because we're sharing ideas, and again, this is linear, it is in a column format, is I do like for students to be able to go and share different kinds of pictures that they might take. So many of them, as they're interacting with Padlet, maybe on the weekend, they have their parents' phone or iPad, and even my college students, they have their own phones. They go out and they'll take pictures and upload it to Padlet. They might capture a short video clip and upload it here for us to see also. But what I really enjoy doing is going on field trips with the young students, maybe to the zoo, and they can just share with me some of their ideas as they're looking at, let's say, peacocks. So they can upload their voice also. Um, as always, you can upload a file from your computer, link to any URL that you have out there, or you can just do a straight Google search. For we teacher instructor types, or if you're the project head, you can share something from your screen if you're recording. You can do that. Of course, you can always draw. You can add a location, which is a pretty fun feature to do that I'll share on the map feature Padlet later on. And as always, you can link to other Padlets. So um, again, have fun with the shelf. The shelf feature is a really nice tool to use for ideas. So hopefully you'll have a chance to try it out. Thank you.